Am I allowed to swear?
Absolutely.
Thank God.
Hi, Lizzie.
Hi.
Welcome to Human to Human.
Thank you so much.
It feels so official having you on the
I
show.
know.
I love it.
I've only bothered you for like, a full year. I'm like, why am I not on it?
Well,
I want
thank
to be on
you
it.
for
Thank you so
having
much.
it at your house, because my house,
Easy.
I was literally just saying to Chris and Lucas, I was like, my house is designed by like 48-year-old parents that it's not going to be ready for a cute recording if you're watching on YouTube like
So
this.
was this house. This
Yeah.
was the first room we did,
Yeah.
and it was a painstaking process.
Yeah. So, Lizzie Peirce.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. I'm so excited
Thank
to
you.
have you.
Thank you for
I
having me.
worked as your assistant for
Yes, you did.
exactly a year ago was when I just left, and oh my God, I learned so much from you. I feel like I became a TikTok queen because we grew your TikTok in those early days together.
We did.
But for anyone listening who doesn't know, you are a YouTuber,
Yes.
a filmmaker,
Yes.
you are a photographer,
Yes.
and I mean, I feel like it depends on who asks you, but what's your go-to?
I mean, depends if I actually want to answer the question, because sometimes if I don't feel like talking about it, I'll lie, and I'm just like, oh, I'll just say video producer or something, and they're like, oh, like for companies, or like, what do you do? And then it's usually a quicker end to the whole thing. If people ask me, not most of the time I'll say photographer, videographer, just because I don't want to get into it. Once you get into the YouTuber thing, it's like opening a whole can of worms.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and
I
then
just
it's like
don't.
influencer,
Yeah, and
content
then
creator.
Everyone like they either like judge you immediately. They're like, oh, so you're like an influencer? And then I'm like, ugh. Or they immediately go into like, oh, so you make like money at that? I'm like, I don't want to have this conversation right now or ever. Like, I don't ask you as a teacher how much money you make or how much money you make as an electrician, like, or I don't know, mechanic. You know, why I just said it's my job, so obviously yes, I'm making, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, out of all the things, if I were to sum them up, I'll say video producer, because it's just like a big umbrella. But definitely lately, like in the creative realm, I'm leaning more towards of like photographer, because I feel like I'm just accepting that that's what I really enjoy. And I mean, I do love making videos, but I prefer to direct as opposed to shoot. And I do love editing them, but I also realize like I'm very happy to work with an editor and just tell them what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it because I feel like all the streams you've gone through and are like focused on are all very creative, very passionate.
Yeah.
But I want to know about the early days of like, how did you fall into these roles? Did you follow your intuition? In what way were you like, okay, I need to honor myself and not be scared of like these other people's opinions? You know what I mean?
Like going from like being in high school and being like, what am I going to do when I grow up?
Yeah.
I just knew that I feel like I've always had the mentality that life is short, so you might as well do something you like. And then I knew that I liked creative things. I was interested in acting and singing and music. And initially I thought I was going to go into a music stream somehow because I played multiple instruments. I thought I was going to go with cello because I just happened to be kind of randomly good at it, because I only was taught cello in school. So I was pretty convinced that that's what I was going to do until my last year of school, of high school specifically. And I took a media related, I forget what it was called, but I had to edit a video, and I just remember getting so in the zone on it, and I remember just thinking like, this makes sense. I know that there are jobs that pay more than being a musician, and I really like this, and so I realized kind of like, I've always loved TV. You know, I just paid attention to what I liked, and then what you like is usually what you're interested in. So then there's usually a job that works along those lines. And I don't think it's healthy to pigeonhole yourself right away and say, I want to be a director, or I want to be an editor, or I want to be a violinist, or like whatever it is right away. So when I applied to a broadcasting program in Canada called, I mean, they changed the name of it now, but at the time it was called the RTA School of Media.
And they changed the name of the university.
And they
so
changed
you're
the name
like,
of the
my credentials
university.
to start.
So now it's very confusing for me to tell people where I went to school. So that's fucking great.
For anyone wondering, Ryerson, formerly known as
Formerly
Ryerson,
known as
now
Ryerson.
TMU, Toronto Metropolitan University.
So lame.
So
but it's
long.
fine. And so when I got into the program, I was just kind of in the mentality of like trying everything. So it's kind of like you just keep niching down. It's like, I know I like creative things. It's going to be a creative thing I go into. And I knew I knew as a kid, I was like, whatever I do, I'm going to be the boss. Like, that's just kind of my mentality. I was told I was bossy as a kid. I was told I was type A. I was told I was teacher's pet. I was told I was a kiss ass. I was told I like tried too hard, all of those things. And I'm like, okay, so I'll just be your boss then. And I knew I liked creative things. So I'm like, okay, let's just keep moving down the line and see what I like. And yeah, I tried audio, I tried like TV studio, like you try everything. And then eventually, I mean, being a YouTuber wasn't a job when I was even in school. Like Instagram wasn't a thing yet. It was only becoming a thing like as I graduated, like in my last year of school. And I was like, what is this app? It's dumb. I didn't like it. Because everyone was still posting on Facebook. So yeah, I just think just pay attention to what you like.
Yeah.
And go with it. For
sure. And it's like fast forward to now, you have an incredible following on YouTube, on Instagram. I feel like, and you're your own boss. You're like a badass entrepreneur. I think for people on the outside, even for me, before I met you, before I started working for you, I remember watching your YouTube videos, stalking your Instagram, being like, oh my God, this life looks so fucking cool. It can look.
That is the job, to make it look cool.
Yes. Okay. So that's what I want to get into. I want to get into the behind the scenes, kind of the reality, good and bad. And we'll get into travel and the toll that takes, because it looks like you're just living the damn life on Instagram. Course, yeah. But for you, what were the things when you were first started that you didn't expect to be hard?
I don't think I expected the travel to be as hard as it was, for sure. Initially, like, you don't know what to expect. It all seems great, and a lot of it is like the perks are really great. Like, even I'm planning a trip right now where like every time I want to go somewhere, there's usually a way I can finagle myself into getting something comped, like a hotel or flights or whatever, just because of connections and if I post something. So obviously that's fantastic if traveling is important to you and having those things, and usually it's things like products or experiences. That's fantastic. I can take advantage of that because I have time, flexibility, and I don't have kids. I do have, my employees are basically my only responsibility. I have cats, but my mom helps with those. So there are a lot, like, the big disclaimer is there are a lot of really great parts about this, which is why it seems so desirable, especially for a lot of young people right now, to move into this job. But I think a lot of people forget to look at it as a job and as a business. And if you want longevity in this, if you're trying to make a quick buck, fantastic, but if you want to continue to work for yourself and you want to make good money, or you have aspirations to have other businesses, you have to look at building your following online like a business, like building a brand. And really, the social media following is more of a jumping off point into whatever you want to do after. Like, it is a lot of work, and getting the sponsorships, like, it helps keep you afloat. But a lot of people think that's the end goal, which it is not. There's always a pressure of like, okay, now what do I do? So that's obviously always looming. That is stressful. I'm now responsible for people. That is stressful. But in terms of like at the beginning of just like figuring it out, okay, I'm trying to do this. I mean, let quote unquote influencer, but more like the content creator route, which is different than being a traditional influencer where you can just kind of take out your phone and snap some photos. Yes, like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot that goes into that as well. But as a content creator and someone who is a professional in the media industry, there's also a pressure for the content to be really great. And artistically, I want to be fulfilled by that. So there's a pressure to make content that the brand is going to be happy with, but I have to like it and it has to represent me, because my page is like my magazine, Like, you would never put a certain, like, one type of photo in Vogue that it like isn't meant to be there. So there's a lot of back and forth. That can be stressful. That can be a battle. And financially, you never know when your next paycheck is coming. People always pay you late. So the lifestyle of working for yourself has some benefits and, you know, a lot of downsides, the unpredictability. But we saw during COVID, like I thrived during COVID, which a lot of people were worried about me going, oh, are you going to be able to make any money? You know, oh, you know, everyone's going to cut their marketing budgets. I was fine. I was more fine than a lot of people in their 9-to-5 jobs. I did great, which I'm very lucky to say, because I don't think, obviously I work hard, but I don't have any control over who approaches me or who I reach out to get those jobs, especially during a worldwide pandemic.
Right.
So the travel part, because I am a travel creator, is really hard physically, mentally, because yes, all of the experiences it looks like I go on are fantastic. I've done some things I would never get to do otherwise. That's your disclaimer. And I don't have to pay for them. But every single time I'm working and I'm thinking about what I have to shoot, is it going to be good? I'm lugging gear. I'm hot. I am sweaty. I don't show up in a nice, pretty dress. Like I'm dying. And then I have to look good in a photo when I feel like trash. I'm eating garbage because it's usually not available for me. And they're taking me to these like really beautiful restaurants or like really tasty food, but it's not good for me. So you feel slow. You feel kind of sick. You're extremely tired because sometimes you have to do like physical activities like canyoning or climbing a mountain or hiking on top of that. And you're eating food that you don't know when your next meal is coming. Sometimes in the schedule, like your dinner doesn't finish till midnight, and then you have to be up for sunrise the next day, which could be 5 a.m. And you're moving hotels, so you have to repack your bag and all your camera gear. You have to take out and charge it, and then you have to dump all your footage at the end of the night. Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And there have been times I've come back from trips and I'm like completely depleted physically and mentally.
Because also, like, we're not even taking into account the time differences. So sometimes you're traveling and it's an 8-hour, 4-hour, something time difference. And I feel like, especially when I was working with you, you just come back and you're expected to, okay, you pick up 9 a.m.
Yeah,
Monday
you come
morning.
in the next day and I'm like, I'm trash. I am a shell of a human because I have to. So I've tried to now, despite deadlines, just go, I'm giving myself a day to myself, and everyone can just pardon my French, shut the fuck up. Because I'm a human being and I need this now. And luckily I have people that can kind of pick up my slack, and I'm, especially Josh, my editor, for we'll probably reference him a few times. If I didn't have him, I would truly pass away. And I tell him, like, thank you so much. You know, I'm dying right now. And he's like, yeah, all good. He's so good about it. Like, even today, I was supposed to write a script yesterday. I was like, yo, I did not have time to do that. Can you write that this morning? He's like, yeah, I got you. Aww. So that's nice. But you're just supposed to keep going. And like, it doesn't, a lot of brands and people think that, oh, you're on that trip and then you come home and you can just chill. Like, it's not one project at a time.
No.
There's multiple things happening at once that I have to always be managing. So the second I come back, whatever that I was, you know, people are waiting on me the day I get home. And now everyone texts you to get your attention. So I hate my phone. They don't just, I'm like, email me.
And that's something I always love and respect about you, is that you do have fairly great work-life boundaries with your employees. And like, as human beings, we need routine to thrive. We need our healthy habits, our eating habits, our exercise routines, whatever. And so when you go on these trips, it's not a vacation, and on Instagram it looks like it. And I think
which has caused a lot of problems with family and friends too.
Wow. Okay, tell me more.
You're like, oh, like
the good stuff.
So there was one trip, I won't say the brand just because, but online it looked, oh my God, so perfect. Looked like I was truly living the life. In reality, I was having breakdowns every day. I cried multiple times. I was drinking on that trip just to like calm down because I was so stressed. And I know myself enough to know when I hit that point that I'm like, I need a drink. I'm like, that's a problem. Like, I don't have a drinking problem, but everyone, like, they're like, I'm really stressed out. How do I calm down? A glass of wine is a great way to do it. Just like, so, I saw that come, and I was like, this is a problem. I had a lot on my plate, and I was organizing something with some friends about selling like a ticket for something that they couldn't go to. And they're never going to hear this, but they know who they are. Everything's fine now. But at the time she was trying to sell her ticket that I'd bought for her. And I had no time to even send her the ticket. I'm like, I don't know where that is in my email. Like, I'm going to have to dig it up. I'm going to have to send it to her. I just didn't have time. And so she ended up losing the person who was going to buy it. So then she got upset with me. And I tried to say to her over text, like, this has been really overwhelming. But how, and I really tried to put myself in her shoes, was she's seeing me sitting by a pool, like posting photos of a beautiful breakfast. I'm like, I didn't eat that breakfast. That is not what I ate that day. Wow. I don't think I ate that morning, actually, if I'm being honest. Yeah. I just took those pictures, and then all the food was like gross after. And I think I ended up having oatmeal that I brought. You know, she doesn't know that. Mm-hmm. It's hard in any facet of life to communicate what's going on and how you're feeling, and sometimes that requires a lot of extra effort and a lot of patience, because any conflict with someone 99% of the time is a communication breakdown, not necessarily just a miscommunication, but understanding where both of you are coming from, and something is getting lost in translation. And most of the time, I mean, some people are just crazy and you can't argue with crazy, but most of the time with your friends, you can end up in a place where you go, I understand why you reacted that way, and they can go, I understand why you reacted that way. And then that's when you're like, okay, so this was just a big thing where we didn't know what was happening with each other, and now we're going to move past it. Yeah. And with family, like, they think I'm on vacation 100%. Yeah. And I don't even bother. Like, my mom gets it, but yeah.
Have you tried to explain this side of it, like the reality of what you're actually experiencing, what's not being shown on Instagram? Have you tried to explain that to people and them come back and be like, oh, Lizzie, woe is me. Like, you're saying all this stuff, but really, like, it looks like you're having a great time. Yeah.
Mostly, I mean, like, trolls on the internet do that. Yeah. I think once you can sit down in front of, like, anyone's problems are relative. Like, yeah. I mean, me talking about me being really overwhelmed and stressed on a trip, and someone else is going, I just lost my job and I don't know how I'm going to pay rent. That sucks, you know? But everyone's problems are real. This is what my therapist told me. She's like, everyone's problems are valid and relevant. And if you have a friend or someone close to you that's saying that kind of stuff to you and belittling how you're feeling about something, then that's not really a friend. You're looking for someone to vent to and to understand where you're coming from, because all that really does is isolate you and puts you into a state of, like, ultimately depression, because that's what happens when you feel like you can't relate to other people. And that's not really a friend. Like, if they're not sitting there and going, oh, I can understand why you feel like that and why that's hard, and maybe help provide solutions or reframe it, but sometimes it just sucks, you know, but you don't want someone who's going to make you feel like crap about it. But I mean, with family, I don't care, you know, like, you can think I do whatever I want. And you, like, the look of shock on their faces when we bought our condo and then when we bought our house. And I'm like, I don't need to explain myself to you. You can see how well we're doing now. And it's not important to me to seek that validation anymore. Initially, when you're younger, like, it gets frustrating when people, like, don't treat you the way that you feel you should be treated, because you do know you put in effort or you do work hard or whatever. Yeah. Like, obviously that sucks. But does it really matter at the end of the day? And I think Chris often feels that, Chris is my husband. He does the same job for anyone who's listening and doesn't know who he is. He feels the need to prove that, because that validation is really important to him, and it's a big part of his personality. Whereas I truly couldn't care less. I'm like, I'm having a great time, you know? I know how much fun I'm having. I know how great my job is. I don't need someone else to go, oh my gosh, I didn't know how great that was. Like, it actually makes me uncomfortable, probably. But I just think everyone needs to, like, we're always on, like, everyone's just trying to make themselves feel better. Yeah. You know, and like better than you, or make them feel like they're maybe they're insecure about their own job or whatever. Like, it's just kind of silly to behave that way. Yeah. So,
and at the end of the day, how do you come back to, like, your why and your mission of doing this when the mental health, like, tolls are taken, and when you're out of your routine and you're, you know, in a depression or you're having high anxiety? How do you cope with that and push through and come back to why you're even doing this?
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, you have to have, like, an ultimate reason or mission behind what you're doing. And I mean, that's the neon sign over there. If you can read it, it says, remember why you started. And if you forget that, everything you're doing kind of loses meaning at the end of the day. And sometimes there's multiple motivations that you can relate back to. So when you're having a shitty time, come back to that and think, is this serving that mission somehow? And if it's not, use it as a learning experience to not put yourself in that situation again. You know, maybe you didn't choose that job for the right reasons, or you made a mistake that led you somewhere you didn't want to be. I mean, life is a constant state of just self-reflection and self-awareness. It's truly exhausting.
It is exhausting. And then I feel like having to be the one to keep yourself accountable and motivated. And let's say like before you even had Josh and before you had a team, how did you kind of push yourself on the days that were really hard? Or not push yourself and honor yourself and whatever you needed?
Usually, I mean, my dad was in the military, so I can usually push myself quite far before breaking. I just go like in my own head, I'm like, suck it up, bitch, you're tougher than this, which is not great.
No. Has your therapist told you anything about that?
I mean, we've always got stuff to work through. But no, we haven't delved into that yet. But sometimes, yeah, you do have to take a step back. And I mean, I looked a lot into like what motivates creativity during the pandemic and the different ways that you can kind of like reframe your mindset to get inspired again. And sometimes it is like it's finding that motivation to keep going and reflecting on like why the hell you're doing this in the first place, or like, okay, how can I enjoy this more if I'm really hating it? If it's something that's recurring, like if I hate editing, then maybe I do need to outsource that. And that's kind of where I got to, like, the editing was a bottleneck in my process because it was so time consuming. And some of these things like doing selects and some of those like menial tasks of editing, I didn't need to be doing that. That was, you know, below my skill level for like, there were more complicated, I can't think of a better word to use right now, tasks, like higher pay grade, I don't know, tasks that should require my energy. And there were things that I didn't necessarily need to be doing that I could be hiring someone else to do.
Right.
So once I felt comfortable financially at that point, that's when I started to outsource. But it's really hard when it's just you and it's not perfect, and you're not going to be able to, like, if there's a consistent like posting schedule you're trying to keep or something, like not every video is going to be your best video. So you kind of have to be a bit forgiving in that way. Try your best, but like work was my number one priority at that time, and you can see my health decline. And I mean health as in like I started gaining weight. I started having more like breakouts than I used to. I was tired, you know, and then COVID obviously like exacerbated all of that. So, and that's when like it was around when I hired Josh and we had that extra time during COVID that I was able to make health more of a priority. But you need the space to do that. And I have a friend right now who like she started her business really recently, and she's trying to like get healthy and grow her business at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we're always trying to grow our business, but she's really trying to get it off the ground and grow her team.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how you're going to do it. Wow. Because one thing has to come first. Mm-hmm. And you either have to be so strict with your schedule and just make, I mean, she can do it, but it's going to take a sacrifice in some way. Mm-hmm. Like there are only so many things you can fit in that top priority list at one time.
Right.
Is it your work? Is it your health? Mm-hmm. Is it your, and I kind of think like my social life. Like those are kind of the three that I'm always cycling between because I don't have kids and I don't really have anything else. Yeah, you kind of gotta pick one and then your second and then your third.
Wow.
And it's really hard because you're gonna have to like she's obviously enjoying her social life, and I'm like, but if your health matters, you got to say no. You can't go to that birthday dinner or you have to sit there and drink a soda water, and that fucking sucks.
So you feel good the next morning and can work on the thing that is your number one priority.
Exactly. Yeah.
How have your friendships taken a toll because of those priorities over the years?
I think initially I didn't see my friends enough. And I mean, part of that is like I just moved in with Chris, and I'm talking about when I started YouTube specifically.
Okay.
Like I just moved in with Chris, and so we were spending a lot of time together, and I was navigating this whole like living with your person and then finding time for yourself dynamic, which Chris and I are always kind of trying to figure out, especially when you work together. And at that time we were still really heavily like running our production company at the same time. I think I could have spent more time with my friends for sure. But it's like you're kind of enjoying time with your partner. So like everything kind of ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
With family, I was always pretty good at seeing everyone regularly. And you have to prioritize those relationships too. But like as Chris and I have lived together a little longer, it's easier to make time for friends and going out and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Before we kind of get into like some relationship advice that you have, I want to talk about your dad passing away.
Yeah.
And your experience.
I also make a lot of jokes about that for anyone who's listening. I'm really bad at any serious topic. I giggle. So like we're working on that. But yeah, let's talk about
Yeah. So, well, how long ago did he pass away? And this is such a big person in your life to go. And so I'm curious how your grief showed up for you and how that then affected your work life too.
Yeah. You never know how you're going to react. And I knew my whole life that like my dad was old. Like when I was born, he was already old. He was 57 when I was born.
Wow.
Okay. He was always old.
Yeah.
So you start doing the math pretty early as a kid. And I'm like, he's probably not going to be around for some of those big things. Like he's probably not going to meet my kids. He might make it to my unlikely he's making it to the wedding, not in a wheelchair. He didn't make it to our wedding. Will he make it to my graduation? You know, you start. Yeah. So I definitely appreciated my time with him more. And I respected his I mean, I don't know if it was a decision, but like I think with a lot of men when they lose their like passion, and I mean like they love their family, obviously for some men that is their passion and that's a big part of their life. For a lot of men, when they lose their hobby or their job or the thing that they love, life kind of loses a lot of meaning for them. And I think that's kind of what happened with my dad. So he was over it. He's like, I had a good life, I'm kind of done. So he got pretty lazy, and it was, you know, his health kind of declined after that. He ultimately had a stroke, and then about a month after having the stroke, he passed away in the hospital. So he had the stroke 3 days before my 25th birthday.
Wow.
So I remember being in the hospital. See, I'm laughing on my 25th birthday going sick. Yeah. Because I feel like when you're 25, you're like quarter century. Like that's a big birthday. Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm 5 years away from 30. You know, I'm mid 20s now. Like, let's make this count. And then I'm like, of course, now my dad's in the hospital. Like, what a way to go. And so I was very fortunate to be able to, like, I basically told Chris, because we were running our production company at the time, like social media was not a thing. I said, yeah, I'm going to be there as much as possible. You can tell our clients you can pick up my slack, hire someone else. You can tell them to suck it. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. I'm out. Like, this is when it matters. I will be at the hospital every single day. I'll do as much work as I can, but like, that's my decision. We both run the company, and that is how I'm choosing to do this. Yeah. Would a lot of people have done that and be like, that's irresponsible for your business? I'd be like, honestly, suck it. It's your dad. Yeah. And like, also, it's your parent.
I feel like people would like be like, oh, well, like lucky you were in the position to be able to do that. Yeah,
lucky me. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting that I think also a lot of people don't realize how much control you do have on your work life. Like when shit does hit the fan and it's someone that important to you, you can say to your work, sorry, I'm taking this much time off.
And I think
take it or leave it.
Yeah. Cause I was working at a production company, I'm trying to think, like I was working there, not a year, like a year. Yeah. Maybe about a year before that happened. And that was one of the reasons I quit, was because I wanted more flexibility. Yeah. And, I was thinking, like, if I'd worked there, what would I have done? Cause I knew that boss would have still made me come in. And it would have been a whole other like bucket of stress to add on to my life. And I definitely would have told him to suck it. Yeah. It like just would have been more
quit.
Yeah. I would have been like, then fire me.
Right.
Honestly, couldn't care less. Yeah. Cause I don't understand ever why your job should come before something like that. Yeah. That does not compute to me. Yeah. No. And I mean, yes, it's your livelihood. If you have kids and you have to like, that's a different, you're supporting them. Like but for me, as someone who just turned 25, who was living in a bachelor apartment in Toronto that at that time was like dirt cheap, I did not care. That was like jobs come and go. I'm not gonna not be in the hospital while my dad is probably dying. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like logic.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like the hierarchy of priorities.
Yeah, and I remember working in a restaurant and people would be like, oh my gosh, my cousin, like my best friend is in labor and like I just want to get off this shift and go, and like they won't cut me. Bitch, I'd be walking out that door so fast. I'd be like, my cousin's having her baby. See ya. Yeah. Like, or like, not just like, but this cousin was supposedly like her best. Like, she was really close with her.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me why people do that. So yeah, he ultimately did pass away, and it was weird. And he was the first person that I was really, really close to pass away. And so there were a lot of firsts in that whole like experience with death that was really hard mentally, and like it's still hard to grasp, and it's like pretty depressing, especially if you're atheist or agnostic like I am. It's it's a dark place to be. And after, I wasn't depressed, but I was very cynical. I was very like, nobody really cares about anyone. Like I would walk into the world and be like, everybody's selfish, everyone has selfish motivations. Like I was just very like, the world is a shit place. I'm just gonna fuck around and like deal with it. But no one is a truly good person. You know what I mean? Like I was just a weird headspace to be in, and I was kind of like numb a little bit to everything because, yeah, it's just you never know how you're gonna react. But because that was the way I felt. When January came along, because this was in November, when January came along and Chris had started this YouTube thing, and I'd realized that's a whole like long story, which you can find probably on the internet in so many different ways, like why my motivation in starting YouTube. The long and the short of it is I didn't think there were enough women in the space, and I didn't like all the credit Chris was getting for our company and all this shit he did, when I was like, I'm fucking great too. Yeah. Like watch me. So I decided, I was like, even if I'm not, the best at what I do, even if I don't grow and have, hundreds of thousands of followers, like that's not what's important. It's to be a person that is visible online, to represent a demographic of women and of young women who are in this field and who are fucking doing it and crushing it. And I was proud of what I'd done by that age. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to try it. What is there to lose? Truly, like, what is there to lose? Because I was just so, you're kind of like, yeah, numb, I guess. And like, just watch me, what is the worst that could happen?
Well, and at that point in your life too, you're like, how precious life is, how easy, like how fast someone can go, that you're like, why wouldn't I? Yeah. What's the point of being scared of it too? What's the point of being scared of pursuing something? Yeah, you could fail, and then you'll just keep going on whatever you're doing before.
Make fun of you.
Yeah.
Okay. And
yeah,
so people rip on me online or say that I suck at it, or okay, those are words that you've said. Doesn't change anything about the fact that I have made this my job, and I run my own company that's been doing really well, and all my clients like my work. So you can go work at Starbucks and call me when you actually grow some balls, and you know what I mean? Yeah, I was in the mindset of like, nothing matters, so why not? And it kind of, looking back, it definitely kind of pulled me out of that in a way, because I realized people online are actually like mostly pretty nice. Yeah. And everyone was super supportive, and it gave me, initially it was like a hobby. It was something that was mine, because Chris and I were working together, that I could do for fun, that allowed me to try different, like I could experiment creatively and engage with this whole community of people online. And I made, like, once I made some friends, like YouTube friends, it got really fun. Like Becky and Chris, who I just went to visit this past weekend, they were some of my first friends like on YouTube, and they're so nice. They're so talented. Like, they're so cool. And we were all just so supportive of each other initially in growing online. Like, it's just everyone's like, yeah, let's just make things together, and like let's, like, everyone go after what you want, and like, yeah, let's do it. Like, just the positivity and the like go get it-ness of it all. Yeah, it's contagious. And then when you know that you're making a difference for other people and just you living your life, but being online about it, you know, also makes a difference. Like, it's pretty easy to influence other people by just being visible. And it does make you think critically about like what you represent and what you want to do for the world when you have a platform like that and you do grow a following. But I would say that that's probably, like, my dad passing away was probably a big reason why ultimately I did start YouTube. But it wasn't like I ended up making like a short film about it, but that wasn't for like a year or two after. Like, I didn't want to talk about it. Like, I didn't want that to be the reason why I started. It wasn't. I didn't want to be that super public about it, because that's not me. I'm not going to be like, 1 year since you passed away. No judgment to people who do, but like, I'm not going to do that. But like, I can't deny the fact that like it definitely is a part of my story. Like, it's a big thing to happen in your life. And then moving past that and growing up and them not being there. And that's when a lot of like my success has come in my life. I got engaged. I bought a condo and now a house. I got cats. I got married. I have employees. Like, it would have been great for him to see that. But in a way, like, he kind of influenced it. It's kind of shitty. It's like, you died, but it helped me in some ways.
It's for a lot of people, it gives there's a thing called post-traumatic growth, and it's when you go through something, a big loss or something really hard, and then it really inspires and ignites something in you to pursue something that you might not have otherwise. And that's really important, because I think it wakes us up to like the fact that our fears often aren't real fears that we need to like let control our lives.
You can flip that around and use it as something that motivates you. Like, any emotion you feel, you can turn into something productive.
Absolutely.
If you just know how to harness it and think critically about it. Like, any negative experience that you're feeling, you can, I mean, I'm gonna go with 99% of the time, take it and reframe it into something positive and use that moving forward. And I think that separates one person from the next in this world. Like, what kind of person you are and what kind of person you're going to be and how far you're going to get in life, how successful you're going to be, and how much you're going to enjoy your life. That's the most important thing. If we want to get existential about it.
When those hard things happen, do you struggle to feel your feelings and sit in them?
I hate feelings. I hate them. I hate them so much.
You just have that energy.
I know. Because it's not fun. Like, I don't want to, it's so much easier to just be like, go with the flow and have, happy, positive energy and all the time. And when something like negative or hard or like even like being in love or whatever, like, those are big things that are very distracting. And I like being present in my life and working and, being with my cats and having fun. And the second things get serious, I'm like, get me out of here. But that is like, that's life. And so you have to find a way to work with it. And that's what makes life such a roller coaster and such a good story at the end of the day. Once you can overcome those things, and they're little challenges you're faced with. So instead of being like, oh, this sucks, or this is so hard, this is the worst, be like, I'm so lucky that I can feel this. And that I have the opportunity, like, look at all of the good things that have led me to this point, and now I have the opportunity to overcome it, or this is a lesson so that I don't do this again.
Absolutely.
And look at me for all the things I have done that, maybe this like sale didn't sell as much as I wanted, and like that feels shitty, but I did learn this and this, and I see where I could have done better, and now I need to make time to do this better next time. And just don't get stuck on those feelings, like, but I do struggle to feel them at all, because I don't like it.
I'm curious too, because you and Chris have been together for a long time. How have you guys learned to support each other when you've each individually gone through your hard times, and how do you show up for each other, especially in a huge loss or even like a work problem?
I mean, it's never like, oh, we know exactly how to react to every single problem all the time. I think communication is the biggest thing, like saying things. A lot of people think that, oh, well, like, I don't need to say that out loud. Like, that should be like, they should just know that.
Oh, that's such a good point.
Nobody knows. And you do have to say it a lot of times just so that you make sure that they know. Reinforcing that, like, say it's something as small as like they leave a dish in the sink that did not need to be in the sink, which is something that happens frequently in our marriage. And You're like, I know that you were in a rush today. Like all of the things, like reiterate it. I know that today was really stressful. I appreciate that. And like, don't get like, I think sometimes I literally say like, I love you. And I still think you're amazing. Cause like with Chris, you really have to cushion the blow. But the dishwasher is right beside the sink. And it really just takes 1 second for you to do that. And then explain why that's important. Because otherwise I have to take time out of my day, which is also equally as stressful and overwhelming as yours. We both work. And that's really not fair to me. And here's the key. My therapist taught me. How does that make you feel? You express how that makes you feel. Because that's the real problem. It makes me feel like you don't value my time. You know? Because that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's not that he left the dish in the sink and he's a lazy slob. It's that I have to go and pick this up now. You know? And how like that makes me feel like shit. Because you're treating me like you're made and you don't value my time and my effort that I'm putting into my own business. So there's a long, like, and usually people just say like, you left the fucking dish in the sink again. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, you want to start a fight? Say that, you know?
Absolutely.
And we just take that form of communicating into every part of our relationship. And so even things that are small require a lot of talking sometimes. Yeah. But as a person who hates feelings, that can be a struggle. And so sometimes I say to him, because he can talk about it all the time, like in the car ride to the coffee shop, and I just get really emotionally exhausted by it. So we'll sometimes take time and we'll schedule time to have conversations about things. Yeah.
That's good.
So like on Sundays, usually Sundays, if there's a more convenient time, like sometimes we'll move around, but we'll have like a relationship talk. This is a new thing we're doing.
Okay.
Where like a check-in kind of thing. And it's like, how are you? So cheesy. How are you feeling about our relationship right now? Like, is there something that you like that we did? Is there like, do you want to be spending more time together? Like, what kind of activities would you want to do together? Or like, what upset you that I did? So that you're not having, because sometimes if I am tired and don't want to have that feelings kind of conversation, then I can just shut down or say things that I don't mean, because I'm literally emotionally exhausted by even having to talk about that. So I wait till I'm more prepared and have more energy to do that, at least feelings wise.
You can even take a note on your phone if you think about it
I
randomly.
do.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we'll write stuff down and we talk about it all at once in like a healthy way, and then you move on.
Yeah. And
you just live your life after.
Because you guys are such life and business partners, like, and when you marry someone, you're becoming a business partner with them, even when your work isn't as connected as yours is. And so that's so important, because I think I know you get asked this so much about your work relationship and how you're in such similar niches, and how do you set boundaries and how do you work through them? Yeah. That is amazing, because you can write down anything, whether it's your personal life, your romantic life, your sex life, your work life, whatever, you can bring that all up, and you're both mentally present and you set that intention.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's the same thing with business. It's like, I saw that you did this and that really upset me, or you know, something that's happened a couple times is when we have like a shared experience, like getting the house, or like when we shared an office space, who's going to post it first? And especially because our followings are different, they are weighted differently in terms of who's going to watch what and how many people are going to watch what. And that will affect then, like, because he has the larger following, how many are then going to go and watch mine? And sometimes there's been, I'll say, miscommunications where he's posted something first, and that's led to a big argument, because I've had to literally spell out why that fucks me over. Yeah. And he didn't get that initially. Now he does. And he knows how big of a problem it is. So yeah, it leads into everything. Even with like sex, for example, you have to talk about what you like and what you don't like. The other person isn't going to know what you like and what you don't like. And ultimately that's going to lead to a better experience for everyone, you know? So there's relationships, even with your friends, are like 100% about communication. And I think just a lot of people don't like doing that. And I'm not a person that likes that, but I want strong relationships. So I'll figure out a way to make it work. Even with like one of my friends recently she and I were at a festival, and like she was doing something that pissed me off and I was doing something that pissed her off, and by the end of it I was like, I love you though, and she was like, I love you, you're just really fucking annoying. I was like, so are you. And then we just like cuddled and we were like, but I'll love you forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you can have arguments and disagree. You don't have to like someone 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But just talk about it.
Yeah. And then I think the benefits are so clear once you continue to like live and exist and experience that relationship. It's like there's this trust now.
Yeah.
And things aren't getting swept under the rug. I think that's why so many relationships are toxic and just unhealthy, because there's not that communication, and you wait until the last second when you're about to have a blowout to express why you're mad.
And there's usually like a lot of things that you're listing off. And it's never like you aren't communicating your needs, or you have certain expectations that the other person wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
So you can't set those. Like here's a great example. I went out, Chris was sick and I wanted to do something and like go out. And so I went out partying with a friend. I came back and he was like still really sick. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to sleep on the couch so that A, I don't wake you up. B, I don't want to get you illness. So I'm going to sleep down here. So he comes down the next morning, like pretty early. And I'm like, oh, I'm still really tired. Like I'm going to keep sleeping. And he was like, okay, no problem. He comes back closer to, cause I don't think I went to bed till like 4. So I think now it's like 11:30. And he's like, do you want to go for breakfast and this and that? And I was like, no, like I just awoke. Like I was going to have a slow morning, afternoon, you know. I was out. And then I start getting guilt tripped because he had this expectation that we would spend time together. And I'm like, I just woke up and you're making me feel like I've already disappointed you. You had this vision for how today was going to go that I was not privy to. And you were sick like 10 hours ago. You know, I was not anticipating this, but somehow I've made a mistake.
Right.
And so those are the words that I've said basically. And I'm like, I was half asleep and I'm like, you had expectations of me that, you know, I'm like that I had no opportunity to meet, and that's not fair. And then, you know, like once he internalized that, like 10 minutes later, he was like, you're right, I shouldn't have done that. And then when I got up and felt better, I'm like, do you still want to go out? Like, I feel good now. Let's go out and get some food. And then we did. But that's like an example of an argument where he's resenting me because I went out last night and now he feels like hanging out. And I'm like, you never told me we were going to hang out.
Yeah.
So now it's like, don't assume things of each other. Like just because you live together, don't assume that you're spending every single night together.
Yeah.
That's a big one that we learned. It's like, just because we're here doesn't mean I owe you all my time now. I am a person who also loves alone time. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm going downstairs to like do my nails or something. And he's like, do you want company? I'm like, honestly, no, I just want to play music. He's like, okay.
By myself.
And he's like, I'm going to go play Pokemon. I'm like, cool.
That's awesome. And I think you need that because
we're people.
We're people who need our own time, and everyone's level of me time and their need for me time is different. Yeah. And I think you need to learn to adapt to each other's needs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like a lot of me time.
I am the same. I am so the same.
I'm like, I love you, but don't smother me.
Yeah. After like a couple days when I'll go visit my boyfriend, he's like, this was at the beginning. So it was before we've like developed like more communication like this. I love the like meeting on Sundays. It's
hard
things.
At the beginning. Yeah, it's hard.
And so he eventually, after a while, he's like, why are you always get into such a bad mood by the end of your visit? I thought it was about him. And I'm like, oh shit. I needed to communicate that this is about me, not you. I have not had me time in over 72 hours and I am about to burst because I need silence. I love my drives home by myself in the quiet.
I feel that. I feel that on a spiritual
Sometimes
level.
I put a podcast on and I'm like, I can't hear people talk anymore.
I know. And sometimes Chris will play music. I'm like, can we do no music right now?
Yeah. Just quiet.
Yeah, I know that.
I love it. I feel
feeling,
like you have really good relationship advice, so I'm glad you shared that.
You're so welcome.
I feel like I'm taking away things.
I mean, yeah, let me know anytime. I mean, yeah, we have a very healthy relationship, I think.
Yeah.
There's still like, everyone's gonna have problems ongoing, but if I think about like where we were, like people think even when you're a year into your relationship, you're like, oh, it's so strong. 2 years and you're like, oh, it's even more strong. 5 years, oh, it's like nothing really surprised me about his personality at the 5-year mark, I will say. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like at 5 years I knew him really well. Mm-hmm. And after that it's just been managing him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
but there's still new things that come up that we navigate all the time. And like life gets more complicated, especially when we have kids. That's going to be a curveball.
Yeah.
It's ongoing, and you have to learn how to communicate. So I don't think there's ever like a day when you're just like done and set. Like relationships take effort.
Yeah.
And there are times when they're hard, and like they are also an ebb and flow. Like sometimes you're completely obsessed with each other, and I feel like people don't like to talk about this because they're like, oh, you have periods of time where like you're not all about each other all the time. I'm like, yeah, I always love him, but sometimes like, you know, it's like one of your friends, you don't need to see them every 5 seconds.
Totally.
And sometimes like, yeah, we always love spending time together, that's important, but sometimes we're even more obsessed with each other than others, you know. And I think that's healthy. Like that's just life. Nothing is consistent if we've learned anything about life. So why do we have to pretend like everything's perfect all the time?
Yeah. And I think there needs to be that comfort and that like security in your relationship that you're like, okay, this isn't about me. This isn't about you. You're not going to take this personally just because I don't feel like hanging out right now, or, you know, I'm not as like into you or want to jump your bones as I was last month maybe. Yeah. And knowing that it comes back around, like it's a cycle and there are phases.
And that only happens with time.
Yes,
it really like the trust really only comes with time.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that, I mean, some people who get married really young and like have only known each other for a year, like sometimes those marriages work, and like props. I would truly never. Never. Yeah. And we did not. We were together for like, oh my God, 6 years before we got engaged, and then we got married when we had been together for 9 years.
Oh wow. So you spent all of your 20s together.
Yeah. Like I was 19 when we started dating.
And how much older is Chris than you?
He's almost 2 years older.
Okay.
But like 1 grade.
Gotcha.
Because I have a late birthday, he has the early birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, well, I want to know, and this doesn't even need to be in terms of relationships, just anything, what advice you would give to your like 20-year-old self, or me as my 21-year-old self, or anyone listening.
Don't take things too seriously. And I mean, I do credit me taking things seriously to my success though in my 20s. So I'm not mad at how I treated it, but yeah, don't like have fun. Like that is truly what life is about. And if you're having fun working, then you're having fun working. But there are certain like really fun, crazy experiences you're really only going to get. I'm not saying like after you're 20, it all goes to hell. It definitely does not. 30s are turning out awesome.
You were saying the other day, you're like loving your 30s.
I'm truly living in my 30s. It's been like 2 months. Like 1 month.
I feel like
1 month.
I feel like all the Disney stars, like Miley Cyrus and Demi Lovato, they're all turning 30 right now.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing them say that too. They're like, so far, my 2 months of 30 is incredible.
Because you know yourself really well, and you know what you want. And you've lived enough that like certain things don't really freak you out. Like when I went to Thailand, I was like, oh my God, I'm going so far. Like, and like everything seems kind of scary. Just know that like, I was a very cautious 20-year-old, like go a little, like push yourself a little more into your comfort zone, outside of your comfort zone, than you normally would have. And that can be with work or with fun. I'm not saying like get arrested, but I'm saying like just, you know, that's when you learn a lot and life gets really interesting. If you always live on the safe side of things, you're never going to do anything fun. Like if you get an opportunity to fly somewhere in 2 days, go. Figure it out and go. You know, don't think, oh, well, it doesn't really make sense right now. Well, I have this deadline. Don't sleep, figure it out, go. Like you're young, you know what I mean? When you get older and you have more responsibilities, all of that's going to get harder. And this is when you can do that. And I think a lot of 20-year-olds, you know, they do those things. Some maybe a little too much. Like don't forget that you do need to do figure out what you want to do with your life at the same time. But there's a good work and play balance that you can have. Just push yourself a little further. And if you're having a fun party time, then push yourself a little further work wise and stop being so scared of trying something that seems scary. Maybe go that route, but just don't take yourself too seriously, basically.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, I have one last question, but I want to ask another thing for my own personal curiosity. So I'll ask that one first and then we'll close out with the other one. I want to know, because we were talking about this earlier, just about like how your career, it's been built from things you love, things you enjoy, things that were hobbies like photography. Do you have other hobbies now that you just keep for yourself because the hobbies that you're so invested in are now your career that you make money off of?
Yeah. I'm trying to prioritize those more. Some of them are, a lot of them I like having mindless ones that are kind of embarrassing to tell other people about, like doing my nails.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I also like fashion. I think it's cool. I like collecting purses. That's fun for me. Judge me. Don't care. I think it's fun to like, it's a creative form of expression that I don't have to think too hard about, that I think is fun. You know, like, so like getting dressed and putting outfits together, that's fun. I do want to spend more time on music again, because that's something that I think I realize I always want to keep for me. I need to prioritize it. It's not like I need to find the time. Like, there's the time. I need to prioritize it, because that does take a little more. And initially it's going to take a little more mental capacity because I haven't really played anything in so long. But it does, like, it makes me feel so good when I do, and like refreshed and inspired, and like it's really cathartic for me to like sing and play guitar or play piano or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like absolutely 100%. And traveling is obviously like.
And traveling not for work.
Not for work. Yeah.
How often do you do that?
When it's not for work? I mean, recently more, but there was a long period of time where it was only for work.
Okay.
And
like
then I
New
started
York
to hate
wasn't
it.
for work.
New York wasn't for work. I mean, I kind of end up making them a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, we'll film a video or I'll take some photos or whatever. So we did end up working while we were there, but I didn't go because I had a sponsor or like a brand forcing me to.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing with Vegas, was just for fun.
For your 30th.
For my 30th. And then before that, it was Vietnam, and that was for work. And then there were a bunch of other ones for work before that. And then I realized, I was like, I'm starting to hate this. Why do I hate this?
Yeah.
And traveling is so fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's like seeing new things and like going to new places and trying new foods, and just like it being unpredictable is so crazy. If you don't love traveling, that's fine. That's you. I cannot compute how how a person doesn't enjoy that. Like, I love hotels. Yeah.
Oh my God,
I love staying in. I love my own bed too. Like, obviously at a certain point I'm like, I'm over this and I want to go home.
Yeah.
But I love hotel sheets and I love hotel beds.
And just the feeling of an escape and a getaway, and like that creativity it gives you that
you
don't have in your day-to-day life.
It's inspiring. I think that's why as a creative person, it's very inspiring.
Yeah. So one of your missions is, if I can do it, so can you. Yeah. Can you tell me just a little bit about that? And why it's your mission?
That's basically why I started my channel, and because I wanted to be a visible representation of a person, but specifically a woman for other women, who was, you know, pursuing a creative career and who was successful at it. And I think that I get asked quite often why there are so few women, or at least optically it would appear there are so few women in production. And I think it's because you need to, like, when you think of a firefighter or you think of a policeman, you think of men because that's what you see a lot. And so when you think of a director, a lot of people immediately think man as well, because we have seen a lot of male directors. So you have to see, and especially as like a young person, see someone doing that thing for you to be able to envision yourself in that role. And I think when you're really, really young, maybe that's not a factor, because you haven't really seen race or gender or any of those things yet. Like that part of your brain hasn't fully developed, or maybe you haven't been taught to develop those. You know, that's a different discussion. But seeing someone who looks like you in that role can help you imagine that life for yourself. And so me, especially, you know, as a person who I think I'm good at what I do and I'm very proud of myself, but I know I'm not like the best. Yeah. Is anyone the best? But I don't think that's the point. And you don't have to be the best or amazing at it. And you certainly don't start out that way to have a career in production or in media or a creative career at all. So my goal was, you know, by seeing me online, hopefully someone else will look at that and go, oh, well, you know, she's doing that thing. Why can't I do it? And because that is something that I wish I saw more of growing up.
Yeah.
And I wish I had more. Like, my mom did work growing up, and I think that was a big influence on why, like, I had a 2-income household. And I think that always made me think like, well, I'm going to work and I'm going to have my own job and I'm going to have my own money. So I always thought that way. But maybe that's because I saw that my whole life. So I have my own values and my own beliefs of what I want people and like women to be capable of. And so by being that representation, I hope to influence more of that in the future. So that's my small contribution, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I love it. And I love like,
let's play like inspirational music now in the background. I know. yeah, exactly.
Is that on track?
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, I was listening to a podcast you were on and it was really, really great. And you talked about how you just saw so many dudes in the space and you were like, where are the women?
Oh yeah. Was I like, it depends on the day. Sometimes I'm like really salty about it. I'm like, where are the girls at?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Well, I love it. You're an inspiration. Your content is incredible. And I have learned so much from you. I remember when I was like in my bedroom, in my parents' room. I still live there, but this was before I
You've come and gone.
I've come and gone, truly. But I watched like your Q&A videos. I watched your vlogs and stuff. I was just like, oh my God. Like, I just want to do this. I want to be
and you
like
are.
her.
You're
And
doing it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing it.
I'm so glad you came on the show. And
thank you for having me. This is my dream come true.
Lizzie Peirce on Human to Human.
Yeah.
Please tell the people how they can find you if they don't know.
So you can find me on the YouTube at Lizzie Peirce, and it's Lizzie with an IE and Pierce with an EI. I know it's very confusing. Same thing on Instagram, same thing on all TikTok, all of the places. That's my website.
Love it. Amazing. Thanks
for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Human to Human Pod and subscribe to the show so you don't miss out on all the new episodes I have coming out. I'll be talking a lot about relationship, dating, and maybe even a little bit of sex advice. I'm so excited for everything that is to come in 2023, so make sure you're following along so you don't miss it. And in the meantime, I'll see you on Instagram.